Hey guys, it's been a minute. That was stupid. But we're back for a severance episode. What is it? Episode 6. Yeah, if I had to describe episode 6 in one word, it'd be really awkward. I think it was very dramatic in like a reality TV show kind of way. It was really messy. That's what I think it was. But I honestly didn't have like any intelligent thoughts to say about this episode, but I had a lot of feelings. So we are gonna go through it today. So I just thought it was interesting how they picked up right where they left off last episode, because usually we haven't gotten that like a single time this season. All we've gotten is like cold opens. So Mark and Gemma are definitely giving Orpheus and Eurydice right now, and I think Mark is like going down into the underworld, like because the severed floor is like literally underground, to go find Gemma, and I don't think he's gonna be able to bring her back. Like I just doubt that like something's gonna happen and he's not gonna be able to bring her back, because I just don't think it aligns with like the themes of the show. So I just don't think it's gonna happen. Like we want to see Mark suffer. We're not here to see him happy. You know what I mean? So but yeah, I think the reintegration, I think, might do something where it like prevents Mark from being able to maybe like complete Cold Harbor. I think that like maybe getting reintegrated will be the reason that he can't finish Cold Harbor, and Gemma will be stuck in the underworld forever. Oh, seeing grieving Mark is incredibly sad. Adam Scott does his confused crying face so good. Episode 5, that last shot, and the way it carries into this one, so good. Literally, I think Dylan is still hiding information about the perks. I really thought he was gonna tell right here, but like Irving dying didn't do it for you, Dylan. Like, okay, a little disappointed. I was counting on you, but I love Helly this episode. Like, she's actually so funny, and you really don't understand how much she's been missing until you get her back. Like, I love her. Like, she's hilarious. Okay, I know we all love to make like crack theories about like Miss Wong, or I love to. But this scene really made me think that maybe she's not severed and she's kind of just like a normal person. She's carrying herself with the same kind of cadence that like Milch does and Natalie does. I feel like, yeah, she has like motivations for being here that are like not just, well, she was born here and she's like loves the company for no reason. Like, this episode really made me think that she has like more going on under the surface. Like this episode really wants to discuss the differences between Annie and Audi, and also like any relationships and Audi relationships. Like, she's in love with Annie Dillon, but not Audi Dillon, but they're the same person, or really not. I also think it was definitely a choice to like light this scene the way they did, especially in comparison to okay, I actually don't want to watch this. Can we? Especially in comparison to the Helena Mark tent scene. Like, I feel like we're subverting the color symbolism meanings that we all decided on in season 1. I really want to talk about this scene specifically because it's really making me think about like, who is Milch? People used to say all the time, like season 1, oh, Milch is actually like an Annie the whole time, like he's permanent Annie or whatever, and they just like let him out for fun, or like Milch is severed, like secretly severed, and I was like, these series are so stupid. Like, guys, Milch is obviously just an evil person who's unsevered. But this scene really made me reconsider this, okay? Because we need to listen to what he says. Like, okay, because oh, that was scary. I turned it up way too high.
You must grow up.
Okay, because what did he mean by this? Like, was really hung up on his like performance review, and like the just he keeps showing us that page where they're like, he uses too many big words. And okay, imagine for a second that you were severed and they let you out into the outside world because you were doing such a good job of your job, like you got promoted and you had to take over your Audi's life, and you just like, you want to learn so many words, you want to ride a motorcycle, like you want to just be so cool, like everything you've always wanted as an Innie that you couldn't do, now you get to do it. And now people are like, you use too many words. Like, I feel like that actually would make sense for Milchik if he was actually just like an Innie who was let out into the outside world. Like, he was doing so good at his job that he got promoted. And because he literally says like, stop being childish, like grow up. And like, what have we been learning this entire series, huh? We've been learning that the Innies are basically children and they act childishly because they don't know anything about the world. Like, and the way he repeats it to himself, it's really reminiscent of the break room. And like, maybe it's he's doing this because it's the only way he ever knew how, because he was an Innie to start with and they just let him out into the wild. Also, I think that he's like totally going to crash out at some point in the season, and it's coming soon, and I can't wait because I put Milch kill someone on my bingo board and I need it to happen. I feel kind of bad for him because that also really makes me think about the reforms that he does in episode 1 into kind of like context, because like he like we found out like last episode that Milch made all the reforms like not as like a trick, but like as in he actually meant to do it. And it's like, why would you care so much about Innie rights unless you were an Innie at some point, Mr. Milchik? And also, when Miss Huang says last episode that she's like, don't give them too many rights, they're gonna think they're people, he looks at her funny and he's like, the fuck? And it's like, yeah, maybe because he was an Innie, or he is he was born as an Innie. Okay, chill on it, Mark. Your dead wife is downstairs and you were just trying to find her. What's going on? I know he doesn't know that it's his dead wife. Well, I know that he doesn't really gaff, but like, Miss Huang is so cute in her little doctor outfit. I think she's adorable. I love Miss Huang. So when Miss Huang asks him about the hallucinations, I was very worried because I was like, okay, you're cooked. Like, he's gonna get found out at some point, and I'm not ready. I actually, that's, Mark Scott is my baby. Like, there are nothing but bad things in store for Mark, so I'm really stressed. This didn't scare me so bad because I thought he was immediately going to get found out. But then, like, apparently this is, like, all actually a flashback scene or something. I thought they were going to, like, flash back forward, but they don't. We just stay in this timeline now. Very confusing episode. She's freaking me out. She's actually giving me the creeps. Like, it's obvious that she has, like, ulterior motives for what Mark is doing. Like, she's like, I want clues. It's like, it's not your dead wife down there. Talk about the Bert Irving dinner scene. Okay, I have many thoughts on this. Like, he's combing his mustache. That's adorable. That's so cute. I can't. I love Irving this episode. He's actually, like, Audi Irving seems incredibly well adjusted, and it makes you wonder, like, why is he severed? Okay, because, like, all the rest of them have something, like, some crazy ass shit going on in their lives, but he seems remarkably well adjusted. What can I say? Like, Irving's the goat. Like, okay, first of all, Bert's house is hella nice. Like, that severance paycheck must be crazy. Like, we already kind of knew that, but, like, damn, like, this is a nice ass house. I don't know. Hey, do you guys see that? Like, do you see the painting? It's not a painting of anyone relevant, but I just think it's, like, very, like, oh, so, like, Bert on the outside is also a big fan of art. Was he recruited specifically for optics and design? Maybe he was. I don't know. And that really makes me think about Irving, because if, like, if we assume that, like, their severance departments have something to do with, like, their like, actual, like, Audi lives, then, like, maybe the Irving used to work in O&D theories are true, and he was sent down and reset in the testing floor. Like, Bert talks about the church and severance. When he says that he was at church and they were like, you will go to heaven, your Annies have a soul. Like, what do you mean you started to work at Lumen because you didn't want to go to hell? Again, like, is everything okay at home? You guys, like, is everything good?
As if he'd been listening to our conversation.
Like, it's the exact same thing that happens to the author of the Lexington letter. Like, the advert appears at the exact right time. Like, they had been listening to my conversation. Like, that's creepy. That's weird. Hey, guys, like, someone needs to investigate Lumen for, I don't know what regulations this breaks, but it has to break one of them. Like, it has to break some of them. Also, like, what crimes has Bert committed to the fact where they're like, yeah, he's definitely not going to heaven. Like, he's like, oh, he's a bit of a scoundrel. Like, did he kill someone? Be honest. They're so dead set that Bert is going to go to hell that they had to split his soul. Okay, and now the good part of his soul fell in love with another man. Like, oh, it's gonna be messy up there in heaven. If I don't know if you guys are making it there, but hypothetically it would be. Marcus, we need to talk about the diabolical way he is eating that food. Oh my god, you have an Asian wife, Mark. What the shit is this? What's going on? You can ask for a fork. They have those. Anyways, Mark sees Helena, and it's like, okay, like does he recognize her? What's going on here? Because if we go back to episode 1, season 1, he almost hits her with his car, and he's like, oh, sorry, some random lady. But this episode, he's like, oh, you're Helena Egan, the CEO of this company. It's like, okay, when did you learn that, Mark? Between when you almost hit her with your car? But also, I think I'd actually rather prefer to interpret this as he's looking at her, like, there's something going on in there. Like, he knows that, maybe he senses, like, somehow that he knows her. That's what I think is happening. And I think that's really interesting. Like, we're really hitting that, like, does love transcend severance? Okay, literally, she wants that cookie so effing bad, it's concerning. Oh my god, like, the banter in this scene is insane. Because, like, they're actually, like, because I thought it was just gonna be, like, Helena, like, flirting with him, because okay, I was really thinking about, like, what's going on in Mark's head right now in this very moment, and I was thinking, like, okay, well, he's got reintegrated. Like, he knows that his dead wife is down there in the company, and he knows that they're doing something freaky with her, and he knows that this woman is the CEO of the company, so obviously she's going to know about his dead wife and what they're doing to her. And I feel like he figures that out throughout this conversation, like, a little bit more. But also, it's like, okay, Mark, because they're literally flirting right now. And this is, like the chemistry is low-key insane. And, like, really makes you, like, okay, like, in another world, like, Audi Mark and, like, Audi Helly could have been together, too. That's crazy. He was flirting. I was like, Mark, it's not even, like, it's before when your dead wife was, like, off screen, but you didn't really know her like that, so it was okay. Mark, your dead wife is literally, like, it's not a crime to move on, but you just split your brain in half and then put it back together for your dead wife. What's going on? The flirting. Like, they're literally flirting. It's crazy. Mark, your dead wife is in the corner. She killed your dead wife. What's going on? This episode is, the thesis of this whole season is, does love transcend severance? And I think this is interesting because, like, maybe it does. Like, despite all the awful shit that Helena has done and that Mark should really know about at this point, there's still, like, undeniable chemistry between them. And the fact that she gets her name wrong. Like, that's, yeah, like, and I feel like this is, like, really when Mark walks in, he's like, okay, like, disrespecting my dead wife who I now remember, okay? And he's like, and I think that's, it really makes you, like, you like Helena for 2 seconds while they're, like, flirting and bantering around. She's like, she's kind of funny. But then you see this, and it's like, she's one of, Mark's dead wife is one of the biggest projects of your entire company. And you don't even have the decency to know her name. You just know her as Cold Harbor. She's like, she's not a person to you. And it's like, okay, like, let's remember that these people are all evil. And I think Mark definitely notices that right now. But this was uncomfortable. I didn't, like, because, like, when Helena starts talking about work, it's like, it's kind of like that's, like, really, like, Helena talking. Like, when she's joking around, you can see Helly in her, but it's like she's really silenced that part of herself. This is when I really realized the color symbolism in full force, like, the red. Like, it's in the restaurant, but I didn't even notice this until he walked out, and I was like, oh my god. Like, yeah, red is no longer, like, it used to be kind of like a almost a comforting color to the audience because it symbolized like, oh, the characters were entering like unfamiliar territory, but it was in the name of like discovery or whatever. But this is like the characters are in like danger. Like this is red is really becoming a Helena color, which is crazy because it's kind of like she stole that from Helly too. Talk about Drummond breaking into Irving's house because this, oh my god, the emotions that I went through watching the scene were crazy. Because first of all, I was like, Irving, why are we leaving sensitive documents out in just blankly? I mean, to be fair, it was under the roadmap, but also it's like, okay, like maybe you should have put these in like a locked safe or something instead. And I mean, not that Drummond probably wouldn't be able to get into it. He probably could, but like, this stressed me out. I mean, I'm not going to victim blame here. How would he know that Drummond had the keys to his house and was going to break in? He wouldn't. But this cut to Bert, I was like, oh shit, they're in on it. Evil. Because one of them had to snitch on Drummond for them to know that Irv was going to be out. Or at least that's what I think. I think this cut was really purposeful. And it's not just a cut to Irving, it's a cut to Bert. Like I feel like I'm not going to blame Irving because I feel like it's really clear that this was orchestrated in some way. Probably by Bert. Let's talk about that. Okay, because this is literally like direct parallel of when he's like this is exactly what happens when he tells Rigabi that he wants to get reintegrated in the first place. He thinks about his day wife Gem and he's like, no, do it. I want to do it. I want to get reintegrated. And this time he sees Helena and he's like, do it. I'm pouring that acid shit in my brain. Like, that's crazy. And I feel like that's a very, again, purposeful parallel here. His love for Helly is definitely, it's like, I think he's like feeling it subconsciously. He knows somehow. Like the show is comparing those two relationships directly now, I guess, next to each other, like Gemma and Helly. Like they play almost equally important roles in maybe like Mark's heart. And I feel like the fact that she's suspicious is why I'm reading so much into this. But if there is something connected to the snacks, I'm going to be so gagged, I can't lie. Okay, this scene was deeply uncomfortable for me, and I hated it because I didn't like how the fact that there was just a gaping big-ass hole in his head, and I was very uncomfortable when they showed it every single time. I had to close my eyes in the scene. But this made me think about, like, Petey getting his chip taken out, and, like, damn. Like, that must have been easy. That must have been, like, really easy for Miss Cobell to do. Speaking of Miss Cobell, where is she? We can talk more about that later, but just wanted to put that into the world. Like, when she takes his chip out of his brain, like, yeah, I guess it really must have been easy for her because they just have like, that's a giant hole. I thought they had, like, a little tiny one and they, like, just, like, drove it into the brain because the chip isn't that big. But no, they just took a chunk out of his skull. Okay, sure, bro. Whatever. You know what? Also, yeah, like, I'm glad that this means that Devin is going to be in on the loop now. Because without her, Mark is definitely going to, like, Mark is going to end up killing himself somehow. So I'm glad she's here. But also, like, Mark, like, every single day, like, this show makes me think that someone's gonna die. It makes me very stressed for the well-being of everyone, and we really see, like, this episode is really about relationships. Like, they really wanted us to see that. It's Bert and Irving also kind of have, like, a connection. Like, granted, it's a little bit more awkward than maybe Mark Helly were, but it's almost, like, it's similar to Dylan and his outie wife. Like, the connections that they make on the severed floor would have probably still happened on the outside, given the right circumstances, because they are their innies. The end credits always hit me. They always jump me. When I see that line appearing on screen, I'm like, oh my god, like, are you kidding me? Oh, we can talk about Miss Cobell and where she is. Where is she? Why is she missing? What's going on here? When did we see her last? I think it was like episode 2. Could they not afford Patricia Arquette for more episodes? I'm joking. But we need to talk about episode 5 since I didn't make a video about that. I thought episode 5 was also, I really thought, like, all the romance elements were gonna just end with episode 5. I thought episode 5, like, covered the question of does love transcend severance pretty well, but this episode, like, we really hit that note today, and I understand that. Mark has really, like, risen up every, like, oh my god, like, Mark, why is Mark literally the most eligible bachelor in this town? Because, like, why does everyone want a piece? Like, that's crazy. He's got Helly, he's got Helena, he got Gemma. Like, how did he do that? But honestly, like, I can't even lie, like, I would usually be mad about this, but I can't even, like, Mark's depressed sad charm, his depressed kind sad charm is, like, I love Mark Scout. Like, he's just, like, I get it. No, I get the hype. I do get the hype. I feel like in this episode it's really noticeable that there was no regulation on the severed floor. Like, Miss Huang is there technically, but she's not allowed to leave her desk. And, like, the innies are just going whatever they want. Like, Mark and Helly got freaky and no one gaff. Except for episode 7. Like, historically, episode 7 is when really shit gets going. Shit hits the fan. And the description for episode 7 on Apple TV, I'm gonna read it to you guys. It's an old romance intersects with a deadly present threat. An old romance. This is the Gemma flashback episode, y'all. This is the Gemma flashback. I'm excited to see the edits. I know it is. I know it's the Gemma flashback episode. Ooh, we need to talk about the Helena pregnancy allegations. If they go with the Helena pregnant plotline, I'm killing myself and I'm dropping the show. Okay.